So now that you guys know how to make picadillo, I'm gonna teach you how to make these chiles rellenos so you could stuff them with that and it'll be delicious. Let's get started. I have my 3 chiles here. I'm only gonna make 3 today. It's a little bit harder to cook these on a stove like mine that's a flat top or an electric stove. Whenever you have a stove that's gas, it does have the flame, so it's really easy to just grab the chiles and put them over the flame so they could blister and you could peel them. But since we don't have that, I'll be putting them in my comal. I have them on low medium heat because if you have it too high, it'll just burn and it won't get soft and it won't blister enough for you to peel it. So we do have to take our time with these. I have it on low medium. It'll take quite a while, so please be patient. I'll show you guys the progress. After 20 minutes of constant flipping them on low medium heat, this is what they look like. They're pretty wrinkled and burnt, but not quite ready yet because they're still pretty hard. You want them to be soft. So we're still going to be flipping them and hopefully they get really soft in no time. 45 minutes later and our chiles finally look soft enough. As you can see, they're kind of burnt and the skin is starting to peel off. That's perfect. They're not too burnt. And the places that have this, like the little sunken in thing, it's gonna be impossible to get that unless you have a flame. So what we're going to do is get a little handy dandy bag. You have to make sure that it doesn't have any holes because we want the chiles to start sweating. I don't know why, but that's what they call it. So we want them to kind of finish cooking in their own heat and the little vapor that they release. So we're going to get the chiles and then tie them up, leave them here, do not touch them for about 25 minutes, and then we'll start peeling them. All right guys, so it's been 25 minutes since I put my chiles in this bag. As you can see, it's starting to sweat already. I can feel my chiles be a lot softer, significantly softer actually. So that's how you know that they're ready to peel. You feel it and they're kind of squishy. So usually it's 25 to 35 minutes. Just feel it, and if they're nice and soft, then they're ready to peel. We're going to open the bag and it's nice and steamy in here. You see how our chiles look all sweaty? That's why they say let them sweat. So I'm going to start this part where it's already kind of peeled up and then just try to peel them as much as you can. When peeling them, you want to be careful to just touch the outer skin, which is this, and not really just claw your finger in there, because if you do, you'll cause tears all over the chile and then everything will spill out. Since we want to stuff it with either cheese or meat or whatever you're stuffing it with, you don't want it to have all these tears. There's a lot of different techniques to do this. I know somebody told me that it's easier if you get a knife and then just take it off. But honestly, I feel like by hand is the easiest for me because that way I'm very cautious on how I'm peeling them. So this one is mostly peeled. It's impossible to peel it all the way, especially if you have an electric stove like me. If you have a stove with a flame, like I said, it's a lot easier. You get your chile, you put it over the flame, and it's immediately all blistered. But like I said, on the stove like this one, it's a lot harder, so just peel it as much as you can. Some of these big ones are really good to peel. You see how it all came out evenly? These are the ones I like. Now that these are mostly cleaned, I'm going to start cleaning the inside. So the first thing I'm going to do is check if there's any tears. Like here, there's a little tear, which means I'm going to cut it from there and open it. Once it's opened, I will take out the seeds. You want to get a knife that's not too big. So what you do is you open it a little bit and then just cut out the seed from the inside and take it right out. We do the same with the next one, check for any tears. This one doesn't have any. So I'm going to open this here. Once it's opened, you cut the seeds. You want to cut most of the stem. Some of the seeds are already all over the place, but if you can find a whole one like this, then just cut the seed part on the top. Careful that it doesn't go through the chile because if it does, then it'll be a mess. And then you could take it out whole like this. We are filling our chiles. You don't want to fill them all the way to the top because then it's going to spill. So put a good amount, but not to where it opens. Make sure that it could still close when the filling is in here. A lot of people use toothpicks, but I don't like to. So I feel like this is a perfect amount. It's still closing. One of the most crucial parts of this recipe is making the egg wash, for which we'll need 1 egg per chile. So I have 3 eggs and they have to be room temperature. I noticed that whenever they're room temperature, it's easier to make them stiff. So I only need the whites. The way that I get the whites out is that I tap the edge just so that it breaks. It cracks like this. Get it out. And then only take out the egg whites. If you have an easier way, then you're welcome to do so. This is what works for me. So I just let the egg white fall out, keep turning it, make sure that the yolk doesn't come out. While I was doing this, I forgot to mention I'm already preheating my pan with my oil because the eggs, they don't last fluffy very long. So you want the oil to be ready by the time you dip your chiles in your egg, and then they're just ready to go. Your pan has to be on a low medium heat with a good amount of oil so they could fry really well. Now we're starting this in a medium setting. You want it to be nice and stiff. I did whip it for a good 2 minutes on a medium setting, and as you can see, it's really stiff, it's not falling. This is perfect. Right now is the time to add our yolks, and if you're adding any salt, this is the time to do so. You want to add the yolks while this is on so it could really mix together and it doesn't just sink. I have my chiles right here, and this is a quick process. So what I'm going to do is get my chile, put it around the flour. Since my chiles are already floured, I am going to dip it in my egg wash. When you dip it in your egg wash, you might need a spoon just to kind of cover the whole chile. I like to get the largest spatula I have and kind of put some oil on the chile so the sides cook and it doesn't open. And then it's a lot easier if it has this little stem, because then we just put it to the side. I have a plate already prepared with a napkin so it could soak up all the oil. And I'm just going to grab my chile. You see how pretty covered it is? It's impossible to get it all covered, or at least I've never been able to. But this is pretty good. And then I just place it on my napkin. All right, Sizzlers, so that's how I make my chiles rellenos. It is a lot of work. It is time consuming, but it's totally worth it. They're so delicious. I suggest making the picadillo one day before so it's not hot and it's a little bit more stiff so it stays on the inside. That always works for me, and it also divides the workload of the chiles rellenos. These are my favorite. I hardly make them because, as like I said, they're really hard to make, but I hope you guys enjoy it. Until next time.